actual nature. And then when one is elderly, or one could even say old, then the true nature of the material world is really revealed. It's crushing. And even if you decide that you like it here, even if you decide you want to stay in the material world, you can't stay in the material world. You will be kicked out. You must be kicked out. It's the very nature of the material world. Either we get kicked out all at once, or piece by piece. Knees and then teeth. I won't even bring up hair. If I had some, I would bring it up. But piece by piece, the material world proves itself to be a false shelter. So this is not actually a cynical, negative message at all. First of all, it is realistic, it's real, but even aside from that, it is so positive. It is extremely positive because Sharanagati, or surrender, which is the basic instruction that Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita. He concludes the Bhagavad Gita with that instruction, and that's the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. What is that instruction? Savadamam Krityasya Mamekam Sharanam. Sharanam means the same as Saranagati. It means surrender. And how to do that? The verse prior to that. Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam. This teaches us how to do it. So the material world, with its constant pinchings and difficulties, it's like when the children are young, they think that, Hagriv, come sit here. Sit up front. I want to see. When the children are young, they think, oh, this school is such a problem. Because, why? Because they give me assignments, and they give me, what's the other thing they give you? Projects and exams. Yes? And even though you may not be anxiety about exams, your mother is. Especially. So, but then the illusion of the material world is, oh, when I get out of this school and I go to the next school, then everything, the pressure will be off, it'll be easy. And then when you're in the university, then you think, oh, when I get a job, then everything will be peaceful. Now, talking about illusion, and then you think, well, this is too hard, where am I going to eat? How am I going to eat it? Because I have to cook for myself or something. Of course, in Melbourne, when you come to Melbourne, Mahat Prasad Nadir. But then we get married and we have children, and then and it really seems like suddenly, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaks about this, suddenly we find ourselves old, and just on the borderline of at any moment. So the illusion of the material world is that it will give us shelter. The reality is that Krishna will give us shelter. Now, how deeply do we trust this? This world is meant specifically, it's a school for learning this one art of Sharanagati. Of course, the deeper art of prema pamarto mahan, actually learning to love Krishna. If we could move, I think, instead of moving the pillar, I'll move me. Okay, at least, no. Go this way. No. Okay, Varahabhav. It's really meant to teach us this fine art of, in all situations, take shelter where there is actual shelter, where there is actual security, where there is actual substance. And that substance is at the lotus feet of Krishna. And of course, So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a master, a past master, you could say, of this, and the highest master of this. And he teaches us how to do this in his songbook. So the first one is called Sharanagati, which means returning to our actual shelter, returning to our natural position, returning to who we really are. And who we really are is in relationship with Krishna. And here in the material world, Krishna, we turn our back on Krishna. And with our back turned, like if we turn our back on the sun, we see shadows. When our back is turned to the sun, what do we see? If your back is to the sun, what do you see? You see your shadow, yes? And if is your shadow you? It's just a shadow of who you are. So we're living in the world of shadows. Actually, we're living in the world of shadows. And we don't exactly fit into this world, no matter how much we try. Because it's a world of shadows, and we're only the shadow of who we actually are. So by Sharanagati, we turn to that. Now what's a second songbook, the Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Can you imagine, actually, I was about to say, can you, because it's a songbook, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Thakur wrote these songbooks. But can you imagine, I was about to say, that if the popular songs of this world that people listen to when they walk around with their mobile phones plugged into their ears, if they were listening to the songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and of course that's the last thing they want to hear. They want to hear the songs of enjoyment that encourage their enjoyment after repeated failure in the material world. So it's sad, and I was about to say, could you imagine that? But there was a time, by Prabhupada's mercy, when our departed George Harrison, he wrote songs like this, and people were listening to it, walking around, and instead of singing nonsensical songs that were really created out of illusion, he asked Prabhupada for some ideas to write songs. And he was, I'm living in the material world, I don't know what I'm doing here, but I hope to see much clearer and get out of this material world to the spiritual sky, sweet memories. It was quite amazing that people would walk around singing this. And then actually one time he didn't sing it, but with Ravi Shankar, not the current Ravi Shankar, but the previous Ravi Shankar, who was a sitar master. That he produced a song that was sung by Ravi Shankar's daughter named
Anushka.
Huh?
Anushka.
Thank you. And it was called I Am Missing You, Krishna. And people were going around singing this. So this was Prabhupada's incredible influence and also the good-heartedness of George Harrison. And when Prabhupada heard it, he was he prayed it for Prabhupada. And I remember Yadubara Prabhu telling me about this, that when Prabhupada heard it, George Harrison played it for him. And Prabhupada said, this is a song of separation in the mood of Sanatana Goswami. And there it was, playing guitars, and this was this young lady singing this song. It was very, very sad, very cute. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur wanted to teach us how to miss Krishna. And one of the first steps in that, the steps in Sharanagati, in this particular song that we're going to hear right now and sing along right now is from the fourth songbook called Kalyana Kalpatura. What does Kalyana Kalpatura mean?
The tree that gives you freedom?
That fulfills all your desires. The wish-fulfilling tree that fulfills all your desires. Quite incredible that this songbook is going to teach you how to be completely satisfied and fulfilled. Maybe you can give these devotees sitting here can have some asanas. Seems like there's a shortage of asanas, which is a wonderful thing, which means there's many, many devotees. Let there always be more devotees, more and more, but we should have more and more asanas too, so that they can sit on the cold marble. So, and I'll just mention the two other songbooks, Gita Mala and Gitavali. Two other songbooks. All of them are very, very special. Today we're going to sing two of the songs, one right now, and there's Swaminanda Krishna Prabhu, a very, very dear friend, to sing along. And he's even told me that his Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj, has taught him how to sing with a Bengali accent. Okay, so now this is going to be, I'm going to ask you something that's, okay, it's not too difficult, but the words over here, and we're going to sing the first part of Gopinath, and we'll speak about it after we sing it, but the words will be up here. Now this is the difficulty, that you have to be looking at the words if you don't know the words, and also looking at the deities at the same time. Now, I don't know how you're going to do that unless you become like Lord Brahma or something. But at least, I don't know, at least don't put your back to the deities, because that would be impolite. You know why it's impolite to put our back to the deities? Do you know why? Yes.
We are facing our back to Krishna.
Yes.
But we are putting our eyes towards Maya.
Yes, that's true. But I'll show you why it's, in fact, I won't show you, but I'll ask Trini Mataji to show you. Stand up and put your back to everyone. Well, now you know why it's impolite. Because it's not polite, because it doesn't feel good when someone puts their back to you. Especially if they go like this. I won't turn towards Krishna. But no, excuse me. Yes, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur in this song is going to teach us, and the Srila Priya Mataji will play the harmonium, and use Sama will accompany on Mridanga, and who will play kartals. Softly. Who's the other kartal player? Okay, and kartal players play softly. Here's the microphone. Who will hold the microphone? Here. Or Dhruv, you hold. You come over here. This will be difficult to move to stand here. If it's not working. Yes. Now, I think you want to hold it. Yes? No, I don't. No. Okay, so this song is a very, very special song from Kalyana Kalpataru. And please don't read, the English will be up and the Bangla will be up, but don't just read it and think about it mechanically. Try to see the mood, and if we adopt this mood as we chant, as we live our life, as we live our life, a life of devotion, we will always be under the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, and always under the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. And Kalyana Kalpataru means, again, the wish-fulfilling desire tree, and all our desires will be fulfilled. And it's not negative or bad news if I say they can't be fulfilled in the material world. They just can't be. That's the nature of reality. And as I am fond of saying, if there is a struggle between reality and illusion, reality will always win. Okay. Is it my imagination or that's humming a little bit? Maybe put the volume down a little bit. Okay?
No, I think they're moving the tables upstairs in Prashadam Hall.
But it could be both.
Oh, yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
some noise is there.
But that's that noise. That's just the humming. Unless they're humming while they're doing it. Sounding something like bees. Okay.
Hare Krishna. So, we'll sing this song whereby the stanza, we'll do the first line and then the second and third line together. So just as an example, Mama Nivadena Shuno, when I sing, then you'll repeat. And then the second and third line will be together, which will be Vishaya Durjana Shada Kama Rata Kichu Nahi Mora Guna. So second and third line will be together. And after every paragraph, we'll sing Hey Gopinath. Okay? Hey Gopinath, Hey Gopinath, Hey Gopinath, Hey Gopinath. Hey Gopinath, Gopinath.
Everyone!
Hey Gopinath. Hey Gopinath. Hey Gopinath. Hey Gopinath. Hey
we're going to go back to the beginning, but everyone face the deities. Go back to the beginning of Gopinath. And you know, this mudra, what usually we think of it as swagatam, but it's all, this is meant to open the heart. So when you say swagatam or welcome, it's a heartfelt welcome, not just superficial welcome. So, but it actually has an effect, and when we offer respect to devotees, we fold our hands like this. I've heard one person told me this is so much a superior greeting than this, because if you're going like this to someone, they don't know what's in your other hand. But this, everything is clear, that my heart is open and I want to take shelter of you. Now just everyone take 1 minute and just open your heart to C.C. Gornitai, to C.C. Radhamalava, to C.C. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, and offer your prayers to them. And after a minute, I'm going to read the English again of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Gopinath. And just keep your heart open and try to enter into the mood of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in approaching Gopinath. O Gopinath, Lord of the Gopis, please hear my request. I am a wicked materialist, always addicted to worldly desires, and no good qualities do I possess. O Gopinath, you are my only hope, and therefore I have taken shelter of your lotus feet. I am now your eternal servant. O Gopinath, how will you purify me? I do not know what devotion is, and my materialistic mind is absorbed in fruitive work. Everything I do has me in the center. I don't know what actual devotion, true love and service is. I have fallen into this dark and perilous worldly existence. O Gopinath, everything here is your illusory energy, and I have no strength or transcendental knowledge. And this body of mine is not independent and free from the control of material nature. O Gopinath, this sinner who is weeping and weeping begs for an eternal place at your divine feet. Please give him your mercy. O Gopinath, you're able to do anything, and therefore you have the power to deliver all sinners. Who is there that is more of a sinner than myself? O Gopinath, you are an ocean of mercy. And having come into this material world, this phenomenal world, you expand your divine pastimes, your leelas. Why? For the sake of the fallen souls, so that they can become absorbed in thoughts of you. O Gopinath, I am so sinful that although all the demons attain your lotus feet, Bhaktivinoda has remained in worldly existence.
Hey Gopinath, Hey Gopinath, Hey Gopinath, Hey Gopinath, Hey Gopinath, Hey
Now we will hear something about the life of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Now, for this we'll have to face the screen. Do we have a second microphone? Yeah. So, isn't it? I'm always amazed how my focus can be on the deities in a humble mood and praying for mercy. But in 1 second, boom, change the channel, sort of, and then thinking about something completely different. This is the nature of illusion. But at every moment, in fact, we're actually dependent on Krishna. Every moment. Okay, So I'll give you the primary one. You can start. Now, one thing is that I'm going to ask some of the young gentlemen over here to also read at different times. So please pay attention and keep absorbed. It'd probably be helpful if the lights are dim. It's not quite on here. Is that clear?
Is that the full, doesn't look like the whole picture is lit up? Is that my imagination?
Yes.
It's like it's dark at the bottom, at the top.
Maybe, yes, it does look that way.
Oh, there's a spotlight there. Is that the same one for sure, Prabhupada? Yeah. Okay, so that can't be one. Okay, all right. So you want me to read what's on? So this is...
Just read it, and if you want to say anything, say it, and if I want to say anything, I'll say it. And you're in charge of turning it.
This is a presentation that we made in Perth, in Western Australia, for Srila Prabhupada, for Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance day in 2015. There are some photos in here that have not been discovered until recently. So it's called The Exemplary Life of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Practically, this Chaitanya movement, of course, Lord Chaitanya inaugurated this movement 500 years ago. But after that, so many pseudo-Chaitanyaites depreciated the whole thing. But this Chaitanya movement, in its pure form, as it is, was restarted by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We should take it that Bhaktivinoda Thakur was the origin of the Krishna consciousness movement in its pure form. Srila Prabhupada. This is a rare copy that was recently found of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's actual handwriting. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was entitled the seventh Goswami of Gaudiya Sampradaya. He was born in opulent circumstances on the 2nd of September 1838 and named Kedaranath Datta by his father. He was the seventh son of Raj Krishna Das Datta. I think that's the seventh generation, not son. Seventh generation from Raj Krishna Ananda Datta, a great devotee of Lord Nityananda. His home was in Birnagar, Ulagram, in the district of Nadia. Although he faced hardships in his early life, he grew into a very talented young man. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was born into a wealthy family, but very soon in his early childhood, he lost all that wealth, and many of his family members, brothers, father, and so forth, also passed away. So his life became very difficult. By age 18, 1856, Kedarnath Datta entered college in Calcutta. He started writing extensively in both English and Bengali. These essays were published in local journals. He was very taken by Christian theology and found it more interesting than Hindu monism. He would spend many hours comparing the writings of Channing, Theodore Parker, Emerson and Newman. These were well-known writers in the 1800s, philosophical and Christian. The understanding which he had of the Western intellectuals of his time was remarkable. Later, in his preaching, he anticipated many of the arguments and doubts and resolved them with powerful logic, persuasive conviction and scriptural knowledge. When still a young man, he entered into the intellectual and political circles of his day. In the year 1861, he accepted the post of a deputy magistrate in the government of Bengal, and in 1866 he took the position of deputy register with the power of a deputy collector and deputy magistrate in the district of Chapara. So he was developing his career. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur later became the district magistrate in Puri. District magistrate, by the way, in the British government was a very powerful, influential and high post. So he became the district magistrate in Jagannath Puri and manager of the Jagannath temple. He carefully established regularity in the worship of the deities. And this is a picture seen of him with his son Bimal Prasad, who was born in Jagannath Puri and, as we know, later became Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master. Holding an exalted government post and vast erudition, greatly learned, and spiritual accomplishment never disturbed Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He always remained prideless, humble, and friendly to all. Charity seekers at his home always left happy and satisfied. A well-wisher to everyone, he never held grudges, even with opponents to his preaching. In fact, he never spoke a word that would hurt another's feelings. He was an ideal gentleman. He had a responsible government position as the district magistrate, the High Court judge, and he maintained also a Krishna-conscious family. And he wrote almost 100 books on Krishna consciousness. At the same time, he served the Supreme Lord in so many ways. That is the beauty of his life. This is Srila Prabhupada speaking. After a full day of government service, he would sleep 4 hours, get up at midnight, and write until morning. That was his daily program, Srila Prabhupada is telling us. So this is a picture of Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his official magistrate dress. While living in Jagannath Puri, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur took the opportunity to study the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, the 6 Sandarbhas of Srila Jiva Goswami, and the Govinda Bhasya, or the summary, the study of Vedanta, written by Baladeva Vijibhushan. He also studied Srila Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in great detail. By making a display of intense study, he demonstrated the necessity of cultivating an understanding of the scriptures in order to learn the truths about pure devotion. He also had a large family of 12 children. This is 10 of his children here in this picture. So he was managing a family of 12 children. He was a district magistrate and he went 2 times a day to the courtroom. He slept 4 hours a day. He ate a very regulated meal that was minute, a few chapatis, just a very tiny meal. And at the same time he was doing all of this study and writing. So this is just to give us a magnitude of what it means to actually be a divinely empowered person. Anxious to use every moment in loving service of Krishna, he followed a strict, austere daily schedule. So from 8 o'clock at night till 10 o'clock at night, he would rest for 2 hours. From 10 o'clock at night to 4 a.m., he would write. From 4 a.m. to 4:30 a.m., he would rest. From 4:30 a.m. to 7 a.m., he would chant his japa, 2.5 hours. From 7 a.m. to 7:30, half an hour, he would answer correspondence. From 7:30 till 9:30, that was his 2 hours of study. From 9:30 to 10, he fitted in his bath and his prasadam, which was a half a litre of milk, fruit, and 2 chapatis. From 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. he did his court duties. From 1 to 2, again he rested at home. From 2 to 5, he went again and did his court duties.
And he was famed for being able to resolve difficult cases very quickly because of his perfectly clear consciousness.
From 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. he translated Sanskrit Shastra into Bengali. That was his time for translation. From 7 till 8 he took bath, prasadam, half a litre of milk, rice and 2 chapatis. And then he took rest for 2 hours. An extraordinary personality and an extraordinary lifestyle. Accompanied by other respected district magistrates and dignitaries. So he is sitting here, you can see in the middle, at a later age, surrounded by other important personalities. Bhaktivinoda Thakur came to understand that the only real religion that had ever been established in Bengal was that of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. However, unfortunately, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement was not well represented. Kedarnath could not even get a copy of the 16th century Bengali biography of Lord Chaitanya and his activities on earth called Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which we have in probably everybody's household. He couldn't get a copy despite searching in bookshops, libraries and monasteries all over Bengal, because the Chaitanya movement had become so weakened and lost.
Wait. Please read this one. Dhruv. Loudly.
He carefully studied the works of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Okay, next.
He finally received a copy of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. From this time, he said, my respect and reverence for Sri Chaitanya Dev was born. That seed of faith for the Vaishnava Dharma, which was implanted within my heart, soon sprouted. Now I love to study the Shastras, dealing with Krishna both day and night.
Okay. You read. Next one.
He incessantly celebrated of the one and only absolute substantive Godhead, Sri Krishna.
This is a picture that was recently found of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's personal library. Of course, I'm sure it didn't look quite like that when he was taking full care of it, but this is more than 100 years later. His writings have made the sacred teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fully available to every modern reader. And they are presented in a form which carries irresistible conviction and devotion. This was said by a late disciple of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Okay, yes. You read that one, please. Writing and? Okay, you read that one too. Can you read it?
Writing and preaching was his life.
You read it.
Writing and preaching was his life.
You read it.
Writing and preaching was his life.
Okay.
In 1891 was the year Bhaktivinoda Thakur took leave from his government service for 2 years.
Just let me say that writing and preaching was his life. Does that sound familiar? It may sound inappropriate.
So in 1891 he retired from his service for 2 years because he desired to preach Sri Harinam. And he opened many branches of Namhata in different districts of Bengal, as well as starting his own preaching in Godrum. He took time for preaching along with his writing and government work. So you can see the two parts of his life and how dignified and responsible he was. In Calcutta, Bhaktivinoda Thakur started the Sri Vishva Vaishnava Sabha, dedicated to the preaching of pure bhakti as taught by Lord Chaitanya. To publicize the work of the society, he published a small booklet entitled Vishva Vaishnava Kalpavi. Also, he published his own edition of the Sri Chaitanya Chaitamrita. He introduced the Chaitanya era calendar, which established the feast day of Gaur Purnima, the day of Lord Chaitanya's appearance in the material world. He lectured and gave readings on Vaishnava books in various religious societies. In the Hindu Herald, an English periodical, he published a detailed account of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life. So this is also a very old picture.
A servant of Sri Chaitanya.
Anyone else who's going to read?
You.
Okay. A servant of Sri Chaitanya. Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to go to Navadvip and search for the birth site of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the exact location of which had been lost for a long time. One night, he was sitting on the roof of the Rani Dharmshala in Navadvip, chanting on his beads, when he spotted in the distance a very tall tal tree. Near the tree, he saw a small building that gave off a remarkable effulgence. In the year 1887, he discovered that the place he'd seen from the Dharmshala roof was in fact the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was the discoverer of the site of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance in this world. Here he is seen with one of the people who was helping in the practical side with the location, recovery of the location, and I don't know who the little boy is in the background. Building the temple at Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthplace. After Thakur's retirement from government service, he began going door to door in Calcutta, begging donations for Lord Chaitanya's temple in Mayapur. And this was something that appeared in the newspaper describing him. Babu Kedaranath Dutt, the distinguished district magistrate, who has just retired from the service, is one of the most active members. He has been deputed by the committee to raise subscription and is determined to go from house to house. If necessary, to beg a rupee from each Hindu gentleman for this noble purpose. If Kedaranath Datta really sticks to his resolution of going round with a bag in hand, we hope that no Hindu gentleman whose house may be honoured by the presence of such a devout bhakta will send him away without contributing his mite, however humble it may be, to the Gaur Vishnu Priya temple fund.
Service of God was the only thing he longed for.
He was always charitable to Brahmins and equally befriended other castes. He never showed pride, and his amiable disposition was a characteristic feature of his life. He never accepted gifts from others, from anyone. He even declined all honors and titles offered by the government to him on the grounds that they might stand against his holy mission of life. He was very strict in moral principles, and he avoided luxurious life. He would not even chew betel. He never allowed even the harmonium to be played, and he never had any debts. I don't know why those two are placed together, but for some reason the harmonium in those days, of course it was an English instrument, it's not a natural Indian instrument. So it was seen as something that was meant for sort of materialistically enjoyable music, rather than for devotion. So he didn't even accept the harmonium to accompany the kirtan. He disliked theatres because they were frequented by public women. He spoke Bengali, Sanskrit, English, Latin, Urdu, Persian, and Oriya. He started writing books at the age of 12 and continued turning out a profuse number of volumes right up until his departure from this world. This is something of the writings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This is some quotes from his writing. This is called To Love God. It was Christ Jesus who first said, "Love God with all thy heart, with all thy mind, and with all thy soul, and with all thy strength, and love man as thy brother." This is an absolute truth indeed. But different men put different interpretations on this noble expression. The expressions of all great men are nice, but somewhat mysterious when understood, because they bring the truth nearest to the heart. Otherwise they remain mere letters that kill. Here he is pointing out that great men speak the same words that we hear from many different sources, but their words are bringing truth to our heart. It's very mysterious. And meanwhile, the ordinary words that we see everywhere around us are simply leading us towards our death. The reason of the mystery is that men advanced in their inward approach to the deity are in the habit of receiving revelations which are but mysterious to those that are behind them. Vaishnava Dharma will be the only Dharma. Lord Chaitanya did not invent himself to liberate only a few men in India. Rather, his main objective was to emancipate all living entities of all countries throughout the entire universe. All living entities of all countries throughout the entire universe, and preach the eternal religion. Lord Chaitanya says in the Chaitanya Bhāgavatam, "In every town, country, and village, my name will be sung." There is no doubt that this unquestionable order will come to pass. All the sects and religions will flow like rivers into the ocean of Vaishnava Dharma. And then, of course, he says, "Oh, when will that day come?"
Look, we have to stop right now. But so, and especially on that note of when will that day come, we'll begin another Bhaktivinoda bhajan. So maybe, so this song of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a real song of yearning for purity, for getting mercy, and also for having the ability to spread, to preach. So it's a very, very dear song, and it's right at the next to last song of Srila Bhakti, in Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Sharanagati. So again, you're going to have, we'll face over here for right now, and we'll sing along. And
Kabe habe bolasi dinama. Kabe habe bolasi dinama. Kabe habe bolasi dinama. अपराधा गुजी शुद्ध नाम रुचि कृपा पाए हाबे हृदय संचार अपराधा गुजी शुद्ध नाम रुचि कृपा पाए हाबे कबे हबे बोलो सी Hare bolo se Janadika hina Kavini jenani Sahishnuta guna hridoye deyani Janadika hina Kavini jenani Sahishnuta guna hridoye deyani Shakale manada apani amani hoye yashwadi bona mara shashar Shakale manada apani amani hoye yashwadi bona mara shashar Kabe habe bolo shi dinama Hare bolo Śrīnama Dhana jana yara Kavita sundari Boli bona chahite ho shukakari Dhana jana yara Kavita sundari Boli bona chahite ho shukakari Janme janme ओहे गौरा हरि आही तू की भक्ति चौराने तोमार जन्मे जन्मे आओ ओहे गौरा हरि आही तू की भक्ति चौराने तोमार कबे हबे बोलो सी दीनमा कबे हबे बोलो सी Shri Krishna Namasrucharana Ulakita Deho Gatada Hachana Purita Shri Krishna Namasrucharana Ulakita Deho Gatada Hachana Bhai Banya Vipatu Abe Sangatana Nirantara Netre Bhabe Ashruda Kabe habe bolo Śrīnama Kabe habe bolo Śrīnama Kabe navadipe Shiradoni tate Gaura nityananda boli nishkapate Kabe navadipe Shiradoni tate Gaura nityananda boli nishkapate গাইয়া বাইরাই বজুতে বাতুলেরা প্রায় আচারাইয়া বিচার নাচিয়া গাইয়া বাইরাই বজুতে বাতুলেরা কাবে হাবে বলো শ্রী দিনামা
deep prayer, and after a minute or so I'll read the English of this song, and you can, if you so desire, incorporate that into your prayer. When or when? No. Let's just try to see if I can remove the bird.
No, it's that one. Sound is coming from that one. This is okay. This is fine.
Okay, maybe we can turn that one off.
On the bottom.
When or when will that day be mine? Okay, everyone wants to say that one, so when it comes to that time, you can say that. When will my offenses ceasing, taste for the name increasing? When in my heart will your mercy shine? When, oh when will that day be mine? When, oh when will that day be mine? Lower than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. When will my mind attain this quality? Respectful to all, not expecting their honor. Then I shall taste the name's nectar sublime. When, oh when will that day be mine? Great wealth or followers, feminine beauty, I won't care for them or the comforts of my body. Birth after birth, give me, O Lord Chaitanya, causeless devotion to your feet divine. When, oh when will that day be mine? When will I utter Krishna, Krishna, Krishna with words choked up and shivering body? When will I be trembling all over, losing bodily color, tears pouring from my eyes? When, oh when will that day be mine?
When, oh when will that day be mine?
When in Navadvip along the Ganga bank, shouting Gaur Nityananda as a surrendered soul, dancing, chanting, running everywhere. When will I become half mad of mind? When, oh when will that day be mine?
When, oh when will that day be mine?
When will Lord Nityananda show mercy upon me? When will I reject the world of Maya? Bestow unto me the shade of your lotus feet, and let the right to preach the name be mine. When, oh when will that day be mine? I will beg, borrow, or steal the nectar of the name. By the name's effects, I will feel paralyzed. Oh, enjoyer of the nectar of the name, when will I touch your lotus feet till the end of time? When, oh when will that day be mine? When kindness to all beings will be appearing, with free heart, forgetting myself comforting, Bhaktivinoda in all humility praise. Now I will set out to preach your orders sublime. When, oh when will that day be mine?
When, oh when will that day be mine?
So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, perhaps you can put on the lights. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he embodied what he preached. He preached service, he preached humility, he preached kindness to all living entities, Jiva Doya, kindness to all living entities. He was learned, he worked so hard in the service of the Lord, he did not neglect his other duties, and he is our great Acharya, and due to his purity, as Srila Prabhupada said, we heard in the beginning, that he practically re-established the movement that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had begun. The devotees always feel about Bhaktivinoda Thakur that he's like a very, very kindly grandfather. And therefore, from now until his appearance day, or disappearance day, we should take some special effort to enter into the mood of his prayers, because it's like in India, you don't see this in Australia at all, but in India you see that sometimes, especially in a place like Vrindavan, that's villagey, you see the bus driving down the road at, say, 80 kilometers an hour, and then you see one bicycle driver just holding on to the bus. And even though he has the capacity to go 5 kilometers an hour, by holding on to the bus, he can speed along. We don't recommend. But he can speed along up to 80 kilometers an hour. So similarly, if our prayer speed may be only 1 or 2 kilometers an hour, but if we hold on to the speeding bus of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's mood, we can speed along and enter into that mood. And such depth of consciousness. In this world we tend to want to go high, but without depth, our height will cause us to fall over. Depth is so much required. Depth is required. So let us pray to Sisi Radhaballabha, Sisi Gulantai, Jagannath, Dev, Baladev, Subhadridev, and Srila Prabhupada, all the Vaishnava-acharyas, our spiritual master, all the Vaishnavas, pray that we can just receive one drop of mercy that will give us the capacity to move forward on a very deep level in our spiritual life. So please pray to the deities for this with a focused mind and a full heart, and then see if you can carry this mood, this humble mood, to do some service with you forever. Thank you. We see with Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the whole was all based on service. No. No. Later. थोड़ा बाद में ठीक कोई बात नहीं